it's Sarah again with my vlog, and for those of you who don't know me, I'm Pastor Sarah from the Journey Church in Moncton, New Brunswick, and I am doing a vlog for the month of June to give you tips and ways that you can be practicing faith at home throughout the summer. And my prayer is that these vlogs, these videos will be encouragement to you as parents, that they will help you grow deeper in your own faith, and that you will see that you can be empowered, that you are given everything that you need through Jesus to be the parent that He wants you to be. I want to talk about two practices that I think will be a wonderful addition to your summer vacation plan, because we all know what usually happens is we take our summertime, it's hectic, it's busy, we're trying to get everything in that we can, and by the end of the summer we think, oh my goodness, I need a vacation from my vacation. So these are two practices that could help change that for you. And they really lean into the idea of how we can be resting in God and being present with Him. So I want you to hang in there, listen out before you decide whether to just toss this video out of your, feed or whatever. Okay, so the first practice that I want to talk about is called solitude. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Sarah, this is what I want. Time all by myself with no kids. That would be the ideal vacation. Well, I'm talking about something that's a little different. This practice of solitude is actually a spiritual discipline that Christians and spiritual leaders have been practicing for centuries, if not millennia. And it's actually a way for us to experience our day in a different way. It's a way that we can learn to experience more peace and presence of God in that moment that we're practicing, but it also extends to the rest of our day. It spills over into our relationships and can just really change our whole perspective. And I want to read you a quote from the author Ruth Haley Barton that I think really sums up why we need to have this practice of solitude. Without solitude, we are dangerous in the human community and in the Christian community because we are at the mercy of our own compulsions. We are driven by our inner emptiness to a self-seeking, anxious search for fullness in the next round of activities, accomplishments, or relationships. When we're not finding ourselves loved by God in solitude, we live life in the company of others, always on the prowl for ways in which they can fill our emptiness. We enter into life in community, trying to grab and grasp from others what only God can give. And as I was reflecting on that, I thought how easy it is that we look to fill ourselves from the relationships around us, as a parent, as a spouse, with our friendships and other relationships. And if we're not allowing God to fill those places in our life, then we're going to be looking for others to fill them. So this practice of solitude, I'm going to give you a few maybe ideas or suggestions of how you could practice it. One is, depending again on the ages of your children and what's going on in your family, is plan a time each day that you can just spend 5 minutes, even 10 minutes alone by yourself. Could be after the kids have gone to bed, maybe during nap time, could be in the morning if they're sleeping in, which hopefully they do a bit on summer vacation. But the idea is we often tend to go right into an activity or right into a devotional or right into getting something done. So instead of going right into that, take that 5-10 minutes, set a timer on your phone if you want, and just say, okay, God, I want to spend time with you. I'm just here to be with you. Another person suggested try doing an activity with God. So if finding a time just to sit in solitude doesn't work, maybe it's going for a walk, or maybe it's doing something else that's an activity that you can say, Jesus, I want to invite you to be with me in this. And you're just spending time. So it's really about what's going on up here as we're doing the activity, that we're intentionally inviting God to be with us in that moment. And we're doing it alone. We're not doing it in the company of others. We're trying to just get that practice of solitude. And what this practice does is it reminds us of our limits, that we are limited human beings. We can't do it all. We can't figure it all out. We can't even fill ourselves, our own needs. We need God, and we want to come to Him with those needs. Okay, so that first practice was solitude, and maybe you think, okay, I could try doing that. This next one might even seem a little harder, but they actually go hand in hand, and it is the practice of silence. And again, I can just hear what you're saying. Yes, I would love silence. If all my children would practice silence, that would be wonderful. Or maybe not. Maybe you like the noise and hustle and bustle. But the practice of silence is more than just the outward noise. It is about maybe turning off the radio or songs, or sometimes we like to just have that ongoing background chatter going. And it's intentionally saying, for this time, we just set aside a period of time, I'm going to eliminate all of those background noises, the ones that I can choose to turn off. It could be maybe driving in the car and you just turn off the radio and say, I'm just going to have this time of silence. And even more than that outside noise, though, it's what's going on inside. And just as with the solitude, we didn't want to come with an agenda, in our silence, we also don't want to come with an agenda. And there's some practices that throughout history the church fathers and mothers have given us to help us practice this idea of silence. And it usually involves choosing a word or a phrase that helps us focus during this time. It could be something like, Jesus, I love you, or God, you are my rest. It could be a name of God that you want to use, or a need that you have. God, help me trust you. And what you do is, during that set time of silence, you focus on that word or phrase, and you let it be your focus. So as your mind, which it often does, travels to other thoughts, travels to other concerns, you just kind of let those go for now. This is not the time we're going to focus on them. Let them go, and bring your thoughts back with that word or phrase. And again, this is really about just wasting our time with God, letting ourselves go from all those needs and compulsions we have to try and control every area of our life, and try to even control God a lot of times. So we're have a posture of silence, of that inner posture of being quiet before God, and just letting Him actually be present with us, and He might want to say something to us in that time. So I'm sure this is probably not what you were thinking when you were opening up this vlog, that Sarah was going to talk about silence and solitude as ways to practice faith at home. But as we, as parents, as kind of the leaders and modelers of faith in our home, as we practice these things, as we become more aware of God's presence through the practices of solitude and silence, those things can spill over into our families. And we can invite our children to practice them as well. It's not just about us, it's about leading them as well. And maybe, as with the solitude, it could be saying, okay, everyone, we're going to spend a few minutes in silence. And you could set a timer as well. You could give them a picture. You could put a picture on your computer or phone to show them and say, okay, we're going to look at this picture. And there's some lovely artwork from different artists about Jesus with children, or other pictures like from the stories of Jesus, or some other artwork that you think would be reflective of that. And for children, that could be a focus point. And we're going to look at this picture, and we're going to imagine Jesus is with us, or maybe imagine ourselves in that picture, and we're just going to be silent. And maybe it's 2 minutes, maybe it's 3, maybe it's something that you can build up over time. Again, don't be discouraged if it doesn't all work out the first time. But getting these practices and rhythms as part of our daily life will really impact you, especially in the summertime, a time where you can experiment with new routines, with new rhythms. In the description, I'll put some websites that you could go to just read a little bit more about it if you want and try it out. So I have another spiritual practice that I want to tell you about next week, and this one is definitely not about silence and solitude. So I look forward to chatting with you again, and you'll hear more next week. Remember, we're doing faith at home, but not alone. Hey everyone, thanks again for watching. Make sure you click the like. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe and hit for notifications, and you'll get all the newest videos pop right up for you. And I'd love to hear your comments if there's suggestions that you have, or some questions that you have, or other things that you'd like to hear about. I'd love to hear from you. See you next time.